Every filmmaker who makes films on the Maldives these days seems to be captivated by how this fragile nation is in peril. It's true, if not taken action soon, we as a nation are on the brink of extinction. But my journey is not about how we are a disappearing bunch. Maldives I see still has a lot of beauty in it. So I travelled around the country to document a celebration of this beautiful nation. To the world-class white sandy beaches which overlook the vibrant gardens of colourful corals, home to thousands of stunning aquatic life. To the deep blue oceans, home to magnificent sea giants such as the majestic manta rays, giant sea turtles, and the king of the Maldivian oceans itself, the whale sharks. I also travelled on land to indulge in the abundant flora, fauna, and the life forms surrounding the most diverse ecosystems found here, the mangroves. So this journey to you, my friends, is a series of special postcards, yours naturally from Maldives. This week, I travelled to one of the most exclusive resorts in the Maldives, Six Senses Lamu, the only resort in the remote Lamu atoll just 150 kilometers north of the equator. I am here for the Six Senses Water Women event organized by the resort in collaboration with Positive H2O, bringing together a highly select group of international athletes, water sports icons, and pioneering environmental conservationists from around the world for a week-long rendezvous with an active commitment to make a difference in the world. The title partner for the event at Six Senses Lamu, Positive H2O, is a team of 4 professional windsurfers and Hawaiian watermen who came together with the goal of giving clean water back to local communities.
We have a platform where we can have athletes. We want to bring more athletes on board and sponsors, and we want to do more events, and basically we work with a water charity. Like this here is a good example. This is our first big event. We started with small beach cleanups locally on Maui in Hawaii. And we basically do is like we do right now, it's fundraiser. And it goes to water charity, and that money can be applied to future projects for like clean water, drinking water, clean water and access.
As the first ever gathering in the Maldives comprising of water sports icons and some of the world's leading conservationists, the Six Senses Water Women is more than just a unique fundraising event. It has a lot more to offer in terms of expert insights on the more pressing environmental issues facing our planet today. But before we indulge in the events at Six Senses Lamu, let's have a closer look at the condition of the water accessibility in this unique geographic destination. There are no rivers or streams in any of the islands in the Maldives, and only a few wetlands or freshwater lakes. The country's freshwater resources exist as groundwater in basal aquifers, generally unconfined in nature and extending below sea level in the form of a thin freshwater lens. They are vulnerable to the saline intrusion owing to the freshwater-seawater interaction and need to be carefully managed to avoid overexploitation. Maldivians depend mainly on rainwater for drinking and groundwater for most other domestic needs. Rainwater is tapped from the roofs and collected and stored in various types of tanks. All the islands have individual households as well as community tanks. However, The situation is different in the capital island Malé, where the whole population has access to desalinated water distributed through a piped network. In Malé, it is common for people to use desalinated water for drinking as well as for domestic purposes due to the high contamination of groundwater. As in Malé, many islands are now facing groundwater problems caused by human activities such as over-abstraction and sewage pollution. During the course of the week, watermen, from legendary surfers to divers, offer free water sports clinics to the guests at the resort, and conservationists lead riveting dialogues and debates on the various topics ranging from marine ecosystems to water conservation. The excitement is palpable in the air as the events kicked off in full gear, promising a transforming experience for all present. Strolling around the island for a few hours to get myself acquainted with its surroundings, I was utterly impressed by the resort's commitment to promote an eco-friendly environment on the island, setting a great example for the rest to follow. Observing closely, you can see that Six Senses uses local sustainable material in its effort to make the lightest footprint on this otherwise untouched island still in its pristine condition. A major focus of the Waterwomen event is to promote efforts to ensure clean drinking water for the populations without easy access to drinking water. Speaking of water, I should mention that the resort has its very own drinking water bottling plant. Abram Lecoeuf, the Social and Environment Manager at Six Senses Lamu, was more than happy to give me a tour of the plant where drinking water was produced daily for guests and staff of the resort. Recognizing the fact that branded or imported water is not only costly but is harmful to the environment in many ways, Six Senses took a stand by establishing their own water production plant to avoid importing of branded water bottles.
So in terms of its environmental costs, they're also very high. For example, in a place like Six Senses Lamu, we would have to import our branded bottled water from thousands of kilometres away, contributing to massive amounts of carbon dioxide emissions, which is something we're focused on reducing at all times. Also, the environmental costs are very high in terms of waste production. For example, plastic bottles are not always recycled. In fact, in most instances, they're not. And in a place like Maldives, where solid waste management is such a huge environmental issue, oftentimes these bottles end up in the marine environment. For example, we encounter them all the time when we clean local islands, also our own island. Massive amounts of bottles are just lying around, so they're a big problem. Also, they might just go to landfill at Thilafushi, for example, in Maldives, which is equally a large problem. So the economic costs are very high, the environmental costs are high. So we've taken a stand here at Six Senses Lamu, established our own water bottling and production plant to avoid the imports of branded bottled water completely.
Using a high-tech reverse osmosis plant, every day Six Senses Lamu produces almost 1,000 litres of pure crystal water which is consumed at the resort. The collection tanks at the plant can hold up to 2,000 litres of water, with the daily consumption amounting to 700 litres of water on average. Not only the water produced at the plant gets mineralized, but it also produces sparkling water for the guests. I asked Abe about the quality of water produced at the plant, and he reassured me that the water is sent to a laboratory every fortnight for testing, and the required parameters set by the laboratory are within the limit. In addition to the water plant, Six Senses Lamu also has a desalination plant where water is purified for various domestic uses in the island. The desalination plant receives seawater from a pump that is almost 500 meters away, deep in the sea. As a recognized innovator in environmental sustainability, Six Senses also places a great importance on recycling water. With a strong company policy on recycling, reducing and reusing water, not a single drop is wasted on the island. Six Senses Lamu sees this as the most important component of conserving water at the resort. As obtaining fresh water in the Maldives is a major environmental concern faced by many islands, Six Senses Lamu is helping neighboring island communities in Lamu Atoll capture and store rainwater, which can then be utilized during the northeast monsoon when Maldives experiences dry weather. Noting rainwater capture and storage as a valuable opportunity for securing fresh water throughout Maldives, Abe told me that Six Senses Lamu is conducting clean water projects in Gadu, Hitadu, Punahandu and Mamendu in Lamu Atoll, 4 island communities that are within a 4.5 kilometer radius of the resort. In each of these islands, Six Senses is working with the island councillors and the communities to establish public rainwater capture and storage systems to enable islanders easy access for clean drinking water. Another fascinating detail I learnt about Six Senses is that the resort uses an innovative device they call the Six Senses Carbon Calculator, which is used to regulate carbon footprints on the island by reducing carbon emissions in the resort and subsequently do its bit in controlling climate change.
The Six Senses Carbon Calculator is basically a tool which allows us, or me as an environmental manager here, to quantify or measure all of the carbon dioxide emissions associated with our resort, meaning emissions that our operation actually produces and emissions that are associated indirectly from flights and freight, which all of our guests have to take a flight to get here. There's emissions associated with that. So basically, quantification or calculation happens on a monthly basis across multiple areas, including freight, flight, water, waste, many areas, and all comes together through a series of calculations to give us a total emissions figure per resident night or per night of host and guest stay at our resort in terms of kilograms of CO2 emitted into the atmosphere. And basically we weigh our performance or our achieved emissions against a baseline or our target emissions for the month.
I followed up on the success of the Six Senses Carbon Calculator with the social and environmental conscience for Six Senses Resort and Spa, Arfin Owens, who is quite pleased with what the resort has achieved so far.
Well, we have wanted to find a tool that can really show the impact we're having, not just from an energy point of view, which most companies look at when it comes to carbon. So we developed our Six Senses Carbon Calculator to look into our wider aspects. So we have looking in, of course, to energy, but we're also looking into waste, paper, food, and also imports or freight of products that we bring in. But also the biggest of emissions factors, which we cannot control, but it's there, is from the guests flying in. So we wanted to know what is that and try to actions to mitigate these.
During the week I spent in the tranquil surroundings of Six Senses Lamu, drinking in the lush greenery and the clear turquoise lagoon, I met up with German actress and best-selling author Michaela Merton, who is here to raise awareness about the importance of water in our lives.
I wrote a book about my passion about water, how precious water is. And in my book I covered all the basic information: where does water come from, what quality it has to have, what kind of water you have to drink, not tap water, water out of glass bottles, not plastic bottles, until the spiritual, sense of the water like holy water. The water which we drink and digest has to be the best quality, and we are surrounded by water, but only less than 1% of the world water is fresh water. So to be conscious about that is so important, that we are surrounded by water, we are the blue planet, but we have less than 1% of fresh water. And we are going on and on with the pollution. And this is why I'm here to talk about how we can prevent the pollution, how we can respect the water, and how we can restore the quality of water.
As a filmmaker on a journey to document the natural beauty and fragility of Maldives, I am particularly interested to learn about other filmmakers' take on such subjects. And it was my luck that internationally acclaimed filmmaker Shekhar Kapoor was among the special guests attending the event. An environmental activist with water conservation related issues, Kapoor also sits on the board of the International Global Water Challenge, the world's premier body for water-related issues. Kapoor was enthralled by the beauty of the Maldives, often described as one of the most stunning yet precarious aquatic ecosystems on the earth. Water conservation has been a hot topic widely debated time and again among experts around the world. Noting that we are already living in a water-stressed planet for where people are fighting for clean drinking water, Shekhar Kapoor believes that there are two ways in which we can conserve water.
I think, as I said, there were two ways. Awareness is a huge issue. People that get water are not aware of the problem because it costs them nothing. It costs them nothing. I mean, in terms of given levels of income, it costs them absolutely nothing. So awareness is a huge issue. That's one thing. Make people aware of that. Better water management. We make canals, irrigation canals. 40% is lost in evaporation. We need to reforest ourselves because deforestation loses water. It takes off the topsoil. As it takes off the topsoil washes away, the forests go away, and then there's no more cloud formation, right? So deforesting, reforestation, better water management, industrial water management, awareness from consumers.
Incidentally, his upcoming project titled Pani, Hindi for Water, is about impending water wars in the world. Going back to the 6 Senses of Water Women event, I should highlight here that the event is benefiting 3 major foundations, all of them working towards a specific goal. These include Blue Marine Foundation, which exists to fix the largest solvable problem in the planet, the crisis of the ocean. Also benefiting from the event is an organization known as Plant a Fish, which is a hands-on marine education and restoration project led by third-generation ocean explorer Fabien Cousteau to engage local communities around the globe to replant aquatic flora and fauna in environmentally stressed areas. Last but not least, Water Charity, a top-ranked non-profit that provides safe drinking water, effective sanitation, and health education to those in need, is also a beneficiary of the funds raised during the event. And so, the week-long celebration of the enduring relationship between men, women, and the water, that is the 6 Senses of Water Women event, has drawn to its finale.
We're very happy to be working with 6 Senses.
As I reflect on the array of interesting people I have met and the nuggets of insights I have gained, I am filled with an awe-inspiring feeling that with a little effort in the right direction, we can make a difference. Featured in this episode is 6 Senses Lamo, a resort operated in the Maldives by 6 Senses Resorts and Spa. As a resort and spa management and development company, Six Senses Resorts and Spa has properties in 5 countries, including Maldives, Thailand, Vietnam, Oman and Jordan. With an unwavering commitment to the environment, Six Senses is a recognized and leading innovator in environmental sustainability.